Heya everyone, it's Midnight Specter here again, and today we're exploring the world of aesthetics. Now, aesthetics are kind of hard to pin down because aesthetics are kind of like a guideline to a piece of art or design. So aesthetics are different for everyone, which there are a ton of different types of aesthetics. There's Vaporwave aesthetics, grunge aesthetics, soft boy / girl aesthetics. I mean, I can go on for a long while. If you want to visit the aesthetics wiki on fandom.com to see a list of different aesthetics, I suggest you go ahead and do that because that is quite an exhaustive list. For myself, I can't really pin down the one aesthetic that I can really say that I am or really belong to. I love Vaporwave and Vaporwave aesthetics like old malls, marble, VHS tapes, clear blue water, or old anime clips. I grew up during the 90s, so a lot of the 80s and 90s stuff that Vaporwave artists sample from or reference is stuff that I remember. So let's delve deeper into Vaporwave. So Vaporwave is an aesthetic that started as a commentary on modern consumerism, using chopped and slowed samples from popular songs of the 80s and 90s, television commercials, movies, and television shows that were popular during that era. Album artwork from a variety of Vaporwave artists are reminiscent to those ideals, often featuring Japanese text, old 3D graphics, and old operating splash screens. Oftentimes, I'll throw on Vaporwave tracks to work or listen to when I'm not feeling much like doing anything, so I can kind of just sit back and close my eyes and be taken back to hazy memories of walking my local mall or visiting KB Toys or Toys R Us, getting my first computer and experiencing the early internet, and feeling like there's just limitless possibilities. I truly miss that sense of wonder and that youthful optimism I used to have, and I wish I could just recapture it. The world felt like this vast and expansive place where the next day could be the start of a wonderful new journey. I try to stay optimistic, but sometimes I find it hard to believe things that'll turn out well. Now, running alongside of Vaporwave is another wave called Synthwave, which I believe goes hand in hand with Vaporwave. Synthwave artists almost glorify 80s and 90s synth music and try to deliver that old sound with a new twist, also incorporating different pieces of pop culture and different other items from that era as well. A notable artist of the synthwave movement is The Midnight, which I fell in love with due to how most of their songs almost sound like it would be in a feel-good 80s or 90s movie, and whenever I listen to the music, I feel like the protagonist of one of those movies. There's just so much soul put into these songs that whenever I try to listen to anything recent, maybe by a popular artist, it feels just kind of soulless, honestly. I often mix both Vaporwave and Synthwave music in the same playlist, which sometimes feels a little bit like whiplash because I'll go from slow to start a walk through the mall to a high-energy song that would fit well over an over-the-top action movie. However, another genre that is connected to Vaporwave is city pop, which is a movement where people have rediscovered a variety of music that Vaporwave artists have sampled, which are 70s to 90s songs that were made in Japan. The most popular of these songs is Plastic Love, and I'm going to totally butcher this name, by Maria Takeuchi, and I also have to mention one of my favorites called Ride on Time, by another name that I'm going to butcher, which is Yamashito Tatsuro. I discovered the song while visiting a VR chat world modeled after the album the same name's album artwork. I also really enjoy city pop because it reminds me of all the fun I had playing the Yakuza series, especially Yakuza 0, which took place in 1980s Japan. If you guys haven't played it yet, you should totally check it out. Going back to my liminal space video, I'd like to revisit the topic of Dreamcore and some of the associated cores that go alongside of it. For those who haven't seen my video exploring liminal spaces in Dreamcore, it's the aesthetic of dreamy and dreamlike places. There are some fantastic TikTok compilations where they showcase some of the Dreamcore art. Now personally, I love Dreamcore art because it feels so cozy. I also enjoy kidcore, nostalgiacore, and weirdcore, which I feel like those kind of all those cores go hand in hand. Nostalgiacore is revisiting some nostalgic things which are often from a person's childhood, but kidcore also revisits things from childhood like colorful classrooms, Care Bears, Hello Kitty, G3 My Little Pony, and some of those themed televisions that were popular in the early 2000s. Weirdcore also kind of follows some of these same guidelines, where some of the classrooms are these weird, distorted areas where it can be kind of considered scary, but also kind of considered just strange, just weird, not really scary or not scary. Just weird, basically, like eyes all over the walls, or people with televisions for head, or people's with teddy bears for head, different stuff like that. I often find myself reminiscing about things from my childhood, which is kind of why I really like kidcore and nostalgiacore specifically, especially the giant plush wall from Toys R Us, or just the sheer joy of going to Toys R Us and seeing the toys on shelves that are over my head. I remember some of the toys I used to play with. I also reminisce about preschool because our school used to have Disney characters painted on the walls, which made it feel like really magical to go to school. There's one core that I'm going to talk about all in its own section of this video, and that's trauma core. Honestly, I haven't really looked at trauma core because on one hand, it goes into the territory of accessorizing or trivializing people's traumatic experiences for an aesthetic, which I don't think is appropriate because people who have experienced some sort of trauma in their life might see people posting trauma core stuff and be offended, which is an appropriate response. I can understand that some people may use trauma core as a coping mechanism to deal with their trauma, but I also can't really say that somebody's trauma isn't valid since everybody experiences the world in a different way and has different experiences. Because something traumatic that happened to me was my mom throwing away my plushies in middle school because I was quote-unquote too old, and then being punished because I was upset about it and crying, and told I should grow up, quote-unquote. After that, I kind of just retreated from the world and barely talked to anybody, and I just kind of cried since I was in middle school. There's no way I could just go and get more plush, because I had to drive to the nearest thrift store or beg for a ride to the nearest thrift store. I didn't have any of my own money, so I'd have to ask for money, and of course, my parents aren't going to give me more money to buy stuffed animals when they just threw out all my stuffed animals already. So if I wanted more plush, I just had to hope that I could sneak away to a garage sale that was happening in the neighborhood, or social engineer my way into getting a ride to somewhere where I could buy a plush and hide it until I got home, or buy one of those relatable Visa cards in the store that they had so I could buy something off of eBay. Now, to a normal person, they may not even noticed or cared. Hell, they may have even forgotten it by now. But to me, it was such a traumatic experience and such an awful experience for me that I still have nightmares about it to this day. In fact, I've had several dreams where I've been riding around and I've found my own plush in the trash can, or I've found somebody else's plush in the trash can, or I've gone down a neighborhood, just turned and saw a whole bunch of plush sitting there out there for the garbage man, and me trying to race the garbage man to get all the plush before he could throw it away. Or really, I should say they, because it should be garbage people instead of garbage man, but everybody around me says garbage man. Sorry to get off topic here. Okay, so now with that heavy topic out of the way, what's my aesthetic? I'm not entirely sure because I tend to like and admire a lot of different aesthetics. I guess the best one for me would be softcore because I love pastels, plush, and, soft things. I have a dream bedroom in mind, which would be a princess-themed bedroom full of pink and pastels and that drape that goes over the bed, like you see in a lot of Disney movies and stuff. I also like a lot of 80s and 90s design stuff from that time period. There's a lot of glass sculptures and stuff like that I'd love to buy for myself. Everything just seems so much cooler, I guess, and unapologetic about what it was. There's so much hidden design philosophy now with current design. Do we have to be ashamed that we own a dishwasher or a refrigerator? Why does everything have to be hidden away or look like another piece of furniture or something? I never understood that. I think modern design has a lot of minimalism, and that's unnecessary. I love things to be expressive and to make a statement. I love things that are wild and have life. Honestly, if I could be my persona in life, I definitely would choose to be that. Just be soft, cute, and that'd be an all-around treat for me, I think. And I hope the people around me as well. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. It was kind of a long one, but I think it was pretty informative, and I hoped everyone enjoyed it. And sorry for my lack of energy in the last video. I just got into a car accident that, literally the day before, so I really wasn't feeling up to it, but I didn't want to let anybody down with not making a video, since I'd already been late on one video, I guess in my career, or I guess really that month, so I decided to go ahead and just make a video anyway. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.